Hello all, welcome to another episode of Digital Brand Building. Today we have with us Mr. Vignesh Indaraman, the founding partner of Consign's Multifamily Office, which is a Chennai-based investment management and financial advisory firm. Hi Vignesh.
Hi, how are you? Good evening.
I'm fine, how are you?
I'm good.
Uh, how did the idea of Conscious MFO come about? Tell us the story behind the brand.
So, Conscious Multifamily Office was a brainchild of a bunch of young, enthusiastic professionals based out of South India. About 18 months back, a bunch of us got together. Varied professionals, lawyers, chartered accountants, wealth managers. So, we all came together and wanted to create a platform that focuses on advisory, financial advisory for large entrepreneurs, for startups, for investors as such. And the reason behind sort of coming together, and it wasn't something new that we wanted to do, but it was more about changing the smaller things in the industry as such that we wanted to address. So the whole purpose of all us professionals coming together was to go at it from an advisory standpoint and not from a product standpoint, because generally the wealth management industry or the financial services industry runs with products as the base, because every firm or every bank has its own set of products that they want to sell, right? So our basic premise was to go at it from an advisory focused standpoint and add value in its true sense. So that's the main reason behind us all getting together. And being a very conservative market like South India, at least, uh, there are there are not many good, genuine, bias-free professional consortiums out there. So we started Conscience Multifamily Office with that main motive or reason, and it's been a great 18 months from then, and we've onboarded about 120, 130 clients till date. And to give you a brief about our business as such, it is wealth management predominantly. It is managing your investments, your money in the most efficient way possible. That being the core function of what we do. But that apart, with all entrepreneurs and investors out there looking for more and looking to really build their portfolios or build their assets in the longer run, they would require other services as well, ranging from say legal advice to writing a will, estate planning, or creating a company and compliance aspects. So all of these are part of an everyday function for all promoter families that we work with. So it makes absolute sense that instead of just being the person that advises them with their money, we are also the bunch of professionals out there who would address all issues ranging from legal listening to coordinating with the auditor to getting your company registered to doing your estate planning and will writing as well, right? So it's an end-to-end consortium of sorts. So that's the broad core function of Conscience MFO. Having said that, there is another main core reason that we started out as this consortium, because we wanted to be a platform for all aspiring wealth managers and existing genuine good private bankers out there who are trying to scale up independently with all aspects in place. So we are trying to be that platform for them, and we've been reaching out to as many as possible to help them get that traction.
Great. What is your current geographic presence?
So, like I said, we are predominantly South India based, but then we do have wealth managers across the country. In fact, we do have people joining us from places like Singapore and Dubai as well, because the amount of foreign funds flowing into India is tremendous, and literally now is the time when it is actually proving to be so. When domestic markets are sort of low and retail investors are selling, this is when foreign funds are pushing in money a lot into India, which is sort of taking the markets to all-time high levels. So we are present thanks to though it's unfortunate that something like COVID had to happen for this. It really took away geographical barriers for us. So we've started reaching out to newer places and newer countries, which has become much more easier now.
Great. What metrics do you track when considering an investment position?
So that would be a very broad question, but to give you an answer, it really depends on the investor as such. It is not about the same metrics which will apply to different instruments or different asset classes. But for any average investor who has, say, a balanced allocation between fixed income and equity, we would first evaluate their risk profile, obviously, and their goals of investing, which is very unique and which pertains to that specific individual. It is not a common metric that you can apply to anyone out there. So we first do the risk profiling. We understand what the objectives are for the person as such, and then we decide an allocation based on that. And then when you go to that micro level of deciding which instrument to put it into or which fund to allocate to, it depends on their returns expectations as well. So some fixed income or conservative investors are even happy with 7-8% compounding return year on year, right? But the typical dogma or the typical thing that people assume across when people hear the word investing is that it relates to equity investing, which is not the case. Equity investing is just a small part of, or just a crucial part of investing, but there are a lot of other asset classes or instruments that one could relate to or invest in. So when you say, have you started investing, it does not mean just equity investing. It means across asset classes, maintaining your ratio as you decide with your financial advisor. So there is no broad 2-3 metrics that I could point out, but asset allocation and risk profiling are two important metrics that we go by.
So what products and services do you have on a platform?
We are a core service entity. We are a financial services firm that caters to HNIs and ultra HNIs and promoter families for their wealth management mandates as such. But there are, obviously, we have certain functions and certain products that we have in house to be able to do this. So there is, so obviously there are bonds, there are deposits, there are mutual funds, which everybody know about. Everybody, with all campaigns running about mutual funds and all the publicity being made, so everybody are aware of these broad terms. But then some people do stocks by themselves, some people give money to someone else to invest. There are various ways in which people do it, but for us to be able to do specific stock investing, we resort to a platform called Smallcase, which is a tech platform that enables stock publishing, which enables people like us, wealth managers like us, to publish our own portfolios and then take the same to the end investor. So it is a marketplace for publishers like us. So we use that product in specific. If I had to give you a product, that would be the main core product that we have. So it is a very simple 2-click process for anyone to just sign up, sync with your existing broking account, and invest into the stocks. This has become very more crucial in the last few months, because with things like mutual funds underperforming and not keeping up to investor expectations in the last few years, it has become more and more pertinent that people start investing into stocks directly. So for that, you can't, obviously, being a wealth manager, I can't log into or help each and every investor do the direct stock purchase in a real-time basis. That's practically not possible. So Smallcase removes that problem for us, removes that obstacle by integrating the investor's demat or broking account with our portfolio assets. So in just 2 clicks, they just have to sign up and subscribe to our Smallcase, which is called Conscience Investing, and then they just buy into the stocks. A bunch of stocks gets purchased, and as and when we rebalance actively, the same changes get affected at the investors account. So that's how we use Smallcase as a platform. That apart, we resort to the normal things like mutual funds and bonds deposits, and there are also good fund managers out there who have their own respective products. So it's a mix of all of this.
So your presence includes a website, Instagram page, and a Twitter account as well. What platform do you prefer using?
So that it is not a Twitter or Instagram question. It's more about using which platform for what purpose. So LinkedIn has been a great platform for professionals like us, because we reach out to fellow peers in the industry, or to funds, or to end investors and entrepreneurs themselves, right? So it's been a great platform to connect and engage. At the same time, it is not something where I can actively, but For that, we use Twitter and Facebook and Instagram for content engagement and for reaching out to followers for specific queries or brand building as such. We resort to these. But for more specific or for the B2B platform that we're trying to build, I think LinkedIn has been a great tool.
Since we're talking about digital brand building, how do you plan your content and social media marketing?
So we have someone dedicated to this who will keep churning out content based on inputs from us, based on inputs from our team, and so we create so as relevant to what is happening in the current financial circumstances. We keep churning out good content that adds value or that sort of gives information, good information to the public or the investors at large. So we would use this content to, we obviously have a WhatsApp broadcast list or the Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram pages to push out this content, and we try engaging with the followers and such as actively as possible. And if these content is not enough, we also have a weekly, we call it our weekly nudge, which is hashtag curiously curated. So it brings out good content for people to read on a weekly basis, because end of the day, as much as you take in knowledge or take in financial yarn, it helps you manage your money that much more well, right? So these are things that we do on a very regular basis.
Uh, so
And
how did
for the product I was telling you about, so for that, it has been a very organic reach for us. We are not distributors of the product. We are more reaching out to the mass community at large by taking that product which is based on a good tech platform. So that is reach for that is fully organic, fully online for us. We don't resort to any offline means. So for that, we run ad campaigns in Facebook based on demographics, based on investing parameters, or based on the location as such. So that has been, we started that this Diwali and it's been going on well.
That's great. So how does small case, sorry, contribute to your brand? How does it work?
So, like I said, Squadcase is a great tech platform that sort of collates, it's a marketplace for all stock market investing publishers to come on board and publish there. So with good publishers out there, it is with more regulations and more locationary or the amount of investment that goes into these funds, it's become sort of irrational for investors to seek out products for everything, right? So something has to be more real time and enable them to do it things on a very active basis. So if you want to do it passively, there are always mutual funds to do that. But to do things more actively, to be able to look at your portfolio and take those active calls, which is where people enter into buying stocks directly. I think Smallcase is a great platform for us to be able to do that. It enables us to manage investments for hundreds of thousands of investors by not doing it individually, but by maintaining a solid portfolio, which will get sort of subscribed to by these investors, and they will get to manage their portfolio based on that. So in that way, it's saving us a lot of time and effort. And I think the future of investing will also move to this, because mutual funds and more passive forms of investments are losing its relevance by the day. So there are obviously penetrations that are happening into tier 2 cities, which will continue to happen. But at least the more informed investors will move into these real-time, actively managed platforms to be able to do their investments in a more efficient manner. So it's been a great uh, deal for us there.
Did COVID-19 and the lockdown have any impact on your business? If yes, what were some of the challenges and how did you overcome them?
Okay, how can we miss this question? So obviously it's had an impact both negatively and positively like for all other businesses as such, because we were also a very young and new firm in the city, in the country as such. So we obviously had to lie low for a bit to figure out our base and to recoup. So in that way, it was the first few months were actually hard, because we could not reach out to new people, and this being related to money and investments, it's a matter of trust. So trust doesn't come unless you meet someone face to face, or you spend time with them and give them the conviction that you can do a good job with their money, right? So in that sense, it was really hard because we could not reach out to new people. But as the months passed, I think it really brought about a lot of good changes that would not have happened if not for COVID. So like I mentioned, if this had not been the case, we would not have tried to reach out to other cities. So someone joined from Ahmedabad 2 months back. So there are people joining in from Assam, and someone from Dubai and Singapore joined. And so these are all things that would not have happened if we had the mental fixed mindset of saying, let's stick to the city that we are in and set up branches in every city. So all that mindset disappeared with people going remote, right? So if 1,000 employee, 2,000 employee companies could do it remote, then anybody can do it remote. So it really helped us, grab hold of the situation. So from that time, we've been reaching out to a varied set of professionals and wealth managers across the globe to try and bring them onto our platform and give them that entire set of basket. So any wealth manager or any aspiring private banker out there would need a good technology setup, a set of nice professionals, quality advice, good products and research. So we would like to be the platform that does this for aspiring private bankers who have that professional entrepreneurial spirit and who would like to do it on their own. So we are that platform essentially, and thanks to COVID, touch wood, nothing happens ever again like this. But it's been a great life changer for many of us to sort of be able to do this remotely and reach out to any city, any country in the world. So that way it's helped a lot. But obviously the face-to-face, the physical interactions have come down, which is taking its toll in its own way. But I think in a few months' time, that should not be there as well.
So what is Conscious MFO working on now, and what plans do you have for 2021?
So we are very excited that cities are opening up, markets are opening up. So we personally are traveling to all these new locations. So I personally am very excited about the tier two cities in India because every new firm, every large or mid-sized firm out there is focusing on the metro cities and the larger places where there is a lot of known money. But then so for example, even in places like even in Tamil Nadu, there are places like Coimbatore, Trichy, Madurai, Erode, Salem. These are all untapped cash cows. There is a lot of scope and market potential there, but it's just that it's more underpenetrated and it's more managed very low key by the closer peoples. I think there can be a great set of um, scope and professionalism that can come into a structure there. So we are trying to focus on these tier two cities across India, and we would also not like to be, another firm in a big city or a tier one city. We would like to be the person who tried and reached out to these newer cities and sort of help them add value genuinely and help them, grow their wealth better. So that is something that we are very excited to do this year. And we would also like to sort of we've set a target of reaching 100 wealth managers across the globe to bring on board our platform. I think that's the goal for us in 2021.
That is really great. Thank you so much, Vignesh. It was lovely having you.
Likewise, thank you so much for being there. Bye.
Bye.